I'm Stephen Humner, and the reason why I donate, I have a couple of stories that's dearest to my heart, and I like to share some of those. When I was 16 years old, my dad always took me to the hospital because he wanted to make me grow up to be like him, basically. That's how it was. It was comical. So one day when he took me to the hospital on a Saturday, he said, okay, what I want you to do, I want you to take this paperwork to the Children's Cancer Ward. So I went up there to the Children's Cancer Ward, and I walked in. These big doors open, so I walked in and I seen a lady at the front desk. I said, hey, I'm here to drop this paper off. I'm like the messenger. You know, at 16 years old, you're able to do those volunteers of those days. So she says, okay, thank you. And I heard in the background a bunch of kids playing. I was like, what? So I went back. I said, can I go look? She said, yeah, you know. So I went over there and looked, and there's a bunch of kids. There's this big forum, and there's a bunch of kids playing around and stuff. And I'm like, what are these kids? Because I didn't know. I said, what are these kids doing here? And they said, well, because they're trying to get better. They're sick. I said, okay. Do you have any volunteer positions? My dad works downstairs, and he says, you know, he's bringing me to volunteer to learn, you know, and she said, yeah, I do. I went back to my dad. I said, now I know what I want to do. And the first word he said, it came out of his mouth, he said, don't you get attached? I'm like, what does that mean? Because at 16, I don't know. So I went there, and, you know, I gravitated towards the kids, but there was one child. His name's actually Nicholas. Call him Buddy at that time. So Buddy, at that time, I would always take him to play football, right? Out in the foyer, you know? But I had to carry him because he couldn't catch his breath because he was going through treatments, chemo, and stuff like that. But it was a good experience with him because I learned a lot of good things. I think it was like about a week later, I went back up there, and he says, Mr. Steve, I said, hey, you want to go play? He said, no, I'm tired. I said, okay. And he said, can we sit there and just draw? I said, okay. So we sat there, and I said, what do you want to draw about? He said, I like to draw about what I would like to do, because I really haven't seen the sun. I said, what do you mean? So he's been in the hospital almost all his life because, you know, he ended up with stage 1 cancer at the beginning. I said, okay, what do you want to draw about? He said, well, I want to go on a boat. I said, okay. So we're going to draw a sun and a boat. Sorry. And he said, I want to put you on there and my family. I said, okay. So I did that, and sorry. So a week later, I said, okay, I'm excited. I'm going to go to the hospital. It was quiet. He always met me at the door. I was like, what is going on? So I got in there, and I seen his mom at the end of the bed, holding the same picture. And it was really hard for me because right there I knew exactly what happened. Because that night he died with that picture in his hand. And all he wanted to do was go on the boat. It didn't happen. And his mom was crying. So it was so hard for me, but it was wake up. And he was a good boy. And I don't know why he was taking that early in life. But I learned a good lesson there. I said, I need to be part of the solution. How can we help families cope with what they're doing? I want to kind of get the money to help these families and help cancer research. And that's what I wanted to do because I want to be part of the solution for this. At 16 years old, I didn't have no money. So how do I do it? So on the Jerry Lewis telethon, it says, if you want to do it, here's the paperwork. So I printed off the paperwork, and I went door to door. It was 10 cents. People were giving me 10 cents a mile, and some people do 20 cents. So I was like, okay, so I did that. So I ran a 20-mile marathon at 16, and I got $2, you know? But $2 was enough. But when I calculated it all, I ended up with $30, and $30 is my world. After that, I went ahead and I took a paper route and got $5 a week, you know? And I used those $5 a week to pay, you know, and donate my money. And, you know, the lesson learned there is that if there's nobody there to help, then what's going to happen in these families? The families can't afford that. That's why the donation I do is to St. Jude's, and they take care of the families. They don't have to pay for lodging, they don't have to pay for foods, they don't have to pay for the medical bills, they don't have to pay for nothing, because we do it. We donate for that cause. So I donated ever since I was 16 years old, and every year. It didn't matter, I cut lawns, I did everything. A couple of years later, I got in the military, and I started part of the CFC campaign for donations. And that was one cause I was doing the whole time. And it's a worthwhile cause, because if we're not part of a solution for our generation, next generation, what are we going to be part of? I want to feel that I paid into helping him for his memory for cancer research for those other kids. If they say they found a cure, I could say I helped. I want that. I want that, because I seen them suffer. He died at 10 years old, stage 4 cancer. You know, he didn't need to. And the last thing he wanted to do is be on that boat. It's hard to see, but it is. It's a truth reality. Go to cancer research, go to those centers, you'll see. If I didn't donate, then who can help? We're here to help our brethren, our family. If we don't do that, then there's no hope. So let's have hope, and let's donate to CFC. Thank you.